Some places never forget the screams, even when the world does. The story opens with Ethan Miller, a freelance journalist who drives through a foggy countryside road in the dead of night. He is investigating the abandoned Blackthorn Asylum, a psychiatric hospital shut down in the 1960s after mysterious patient deaths. Ethan stops his car near the rusted iron gates, his flashlight trembling in his hand as the asylum looms like a black silhouette against the moon. He whispers to his recorder, "This place has been abandoned for 60 years. Locals say the patients never left. I'll find out the truth." Ethan pushes open the iron gates. They shriek loudly, echoing into the night. Inside, weeds and vines crawl over broken walls. The asylum windows are dark, like hollow eyes watching him. He steps into the main hallway, dust and cobwebs brushing against him. His flashlight beam flickers across wheelchairs left behind, a child's doll missing an eye, and medical files scattered on the floor. Suddenly, a faint footstep echoes behind him, but when he turns, nobody is there. Ethan finds a door marked Patient Records. Surprisingly, it isn't locked. Inside, dusty cabinets are filled with old files. He wipes one clean. Patient number 47, Anna Whitlock. Diagnosis, schizophrenia. Notes, claims to hear voices at night. Begs to be locked away from the walls. Ethan whispers, "The walls? What did she mean by that?" Suddenly, the overhead light flickers, though there's no electricity in the asylum. Ethan freezes, his breath visible in the cold air. Ethan feels something cold brush against his arm. He spins around, but the room is empty. He lifts his recorder and speaks in a shaky voice. I think someone else is here." He hears faint whispering, like multiple voices overlapping, coming from the corridor outside. The whispers grow louder, forming words he can barely make out. "Leave before they wake." Suddenly, the door slams shut on its own. Ethan rushes to pull it open, but it won't budge. His flashlight flickers out, plunging him into darkness. Ethan finally manages to force the door open. The whispers fade instantly, like they were never there. His flashlight flickers back on. On the wall outside, fresh, bloody handprints lead toward a staircase going down into the asylum's basement. His voice shakes into the recorder. These prints are fresh. I'm not alone down here." Against his better judgment, he follows the trail, every step creaking as if the asylum itself is alive. At the bottom of the stairs, Ethan finds a rusted steel door. He pushes it open and gasps. It's an old operating room. Tables still stand, covered in brown stains, with straps where patients were once tied down. Rusty surgical tools hang from hooks, and the smell of iron lingers thick in the air. Suddenly, one of the tables moves by itself. The straps tighten as if holding down an invisible patient. Ethan whispers, trembling, They're still here." Ethan notices a cracked mirror on the wall. When he shines his flashlight on it, his reflection is delayed. It moves a second after him. Then, the reflection smiles, even though Ethan does not. The reflection whispers, "You shouldn't have come here, Ethan." Ethan stumbles back, dropping his recorder. His reflection remains smiling in the cracked glass. Even as he panics, Ethan escapes the basement, rushing upstairs. He stumbles into a hallway marked Children's Ward. The walls are painted with faded murals of smiling suns and stick-figure children. But in the silence, a small toy ball rolls across the hallway, stopping at Ethan's feet. A faint giggle echoes in the darkness. Ethan whispers, "Hello? Who's there?" The giggling grows into multiple voices, children laughing, but twisted, cruel, echoing in every corner. Ethan cautiously enters a large room filled with broken rocking horses, shattered dolls, and dusty shelves of old toys. The ceiling paint peels, revealing moldy wood, and the smell of dampness fills the air. Suddenly, a music box on a table begins to play on its own. Its tune is sweet at first, then grows distorted and demonic. Ethan whispers, This wasn't in any report. Why is this here?" A doll's head slowly turns toward him, eyes glowing faintly red. As Ethan tries to leave the playroom, his flashlight beam reveals words carved into the walls. Some say, "Help me," others say, "Mother is watching." But one message is fresh, the letters corridors, wet and dark. "Welcome, Ethan." Ethan freezes, realizing the asylum knows his name. His breathing quickens as he backs away, but the words on the walls begin to shift and rearrange themselves while he watches. Ethan stumbles into another section, the silent ward. Rows of empty hospital beds line the corridor, white sheets covering decaying mattresses, but every bed has a dent in the sheet, as if someone invisible is lying there. His recorder picks up faint sounds, slow, labored breathing. Ethan whispers, "They're still here, every one of them." Suddenly, all the sheets lift up at once and collapse flat, the breathing stopping instantly. As Ethan moves deeper, he hears footsteps behind him. Slowly turning, he sees her, a woman in a torn white hospital gown, pale skin stretched tightly over bones, eyes black and endless. She doesn't walk, she glides, head twitching unnaturally. She whispers, her voice echoing in multiple tones. "You shouldn't be here." Ethan drops his recorder and runs, the woman's scream chasing him through the halls. Ethan's footsteps echo as he stumbles into a locked iron door at the end of a hallway. Rust eats away at the hinges, but carved into the metal are strange symbols and claw marks. On the ground, a sign reads, "Do not open, sealed for your safety." Ethan whispers, "If they sealed it, what were they trying to keep inside?" The lock is already broken. The door creaks open by itself. Beyond the door, Ethan discovers a secret underground lab. Broken test tubes, rusted operating tables, and shackles on the walls. Old film reels lie scattered, labeled with words like Subject 47 and Immortality Trials. Ethan picks up a journal. Inside are sketches of patients with distorted faces, their mouths sewn shut. Suddenly, one of the reels begins to play on its own, projecting flickering images of screaming patients onto the wall. At the far end of the lab stands a massive glass tank filled with murky water. Inside floats a horrifying figure, a patient, skin pale and swollen, eyes wide open but unblinking. Tubes run into his chest, and his mouth is stitched shut. Ethan approaches slowly. Suddenly, the patient's eyes snap to his, following his every move. The tank cracks, water seeping out. Ethan panics, stumbling backwards as the figure begins to thrash violently inside. The tank shatters completely, flooding the floor. The patient, now a monstrous figure with broken stitches tearing open his mouth, emerges, crawling toward Ethan with inhuman speed. His scream is a mixture of 1,000 voices. Ethan runs, his recorder capturing his terrified gasps. The woman in white reappears, blocking the exit. She points toward the monster and whispers, "You freed him. Now you'll never leave." The last thing Ethan records is his own scream before static overtakes the tape.